Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome to the next episode in our Lifetime Christmas movie review
Yep.
show. Tonight we watched a very merry
Beauty
beauty
salon.
salon starring Tia Mowry.
Yes. It was interesting. It was okay. This one was a little different because clearly Tia was the main character, Sienna. She owns a beauty salon, but also like the two workers at the beauty salon were kind of like co-main characters. Like they were secondary, but they had much more prominent roles in the movie
Yeah.
than you typically think of when we're talking about like these kind of Christmassy movies, because um, they all had their own little romantic storylines going on,
You're
and
right, they did.
so it was like kind of like like a 40-30-30 split of focusing on each character, where they spent a little bit more time focusing on Sienna's story, but then the other two also had a good amount of time to kind of build up their stories with their respective people.
Okay, so yes, this is accurate. Tia owns a hair salon with two other people. Well, she owns it, they're her workers.
Yeah.
Um, and set in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother is like a big, highfalutin person, and she's in charge of the annual tinsel ball, which has been going on since the 60s, and her Tia's grandparents co-founded it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a yearly event to get everyone all dressed up in like fancy outfits and recognize people who do altruistic things for the community.
Yeah.
And this year, Tia is one of the recipients of the award.
Yep. Her character, she wins the award this year because she owns the beauty salon, but she also has like a little portable beauty salon in a truck that she takes out to like homeless shelters, and they'll go out and do hair and help people out.
Yeah. And she
So,
donates to, homeless shelters and everything like that.
yeah, she makes her own like shampoos and conditioners, and donates that to the homeless shelters. And they kind of plant the seed early on, where they're talking about like pretty early on, they're like, she's clearly trying to do like a hair care product line, where you see her looking over like first drafts of my like the bottles, and someone makes a comment about it, and she's like, not no, I'm not focusing on that right now, it's not the right time.
Yeah. And she's also a divorcee of 5 years.
Yeah.
Um, let's see.
So it starts out, they're all doing the beauty salon thing. She opens it up, the mom comes in, says, "Hey, I saw your ex-husband is now with a new woman, blah blah. I got a man for you."
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I
And
was like, they never followed through with that. Like,
yeah, well,
that's what we thought the love interest was going to be, because the mom was like, "Oh, I got you a date for the ball. It's our neighbor's, son. He like glammed up since you last saw him," and then he was never mentioned again.
yeah, he was never mentioned again,
That
because
was odd.
right after she has that whole conversation, Sienna goes out to start working, and a random dude walks in, and he's like, "Hey, I'm opening a tasting
Tasting
room
room.
in the plaza. Here's my card," and
And
he
all
gives.
three of the chicks stop what they're doing. Their jaws drop to the floor, and they're like, "Hello, hello."
Yeah, the two girls have people in their chairs, and it's basically five people all jaws on the floor. And so Sienna's like, "Oh, hi, I run this place," and they kind of start flirting right there. And then mom comes over and is like, "Oh, this guy Are you following me? I told you I'd get back to you soon. And then they talk about, or she like goes away and
He's a co-founder of the ball this year.
yeah,
And he's like a young hotshot.
co-sponsor.
And he's trying to implement new ideas, and the mom who's done this for 1,000 years isn't keen on that because, you know, the old way is the right way. So that's why she hates this dude. And he thought he looked like Carlton from Fresh Prince in the what's it called? Like the cover shot, which is why he wanted to watch this.
Yeah, he did.
But he doesn't look like that
like
once you start watching it. So yeah, so he asked her out. No. Okay.
Yeah, they just exchanged cards at the beginning.
He's right down the street, and it's very weird. There's this one scene where she like tiptoes out of the hair salon, like tiptoes, like extra, and is making faces. Tell what the faces looked like.
I mean, go ahead.
No, say what you were the one who said it.
I don't remember.
He said she looks like she's constipated because she was making these like these awful
like,
faces
like sneaking a look inside the winery, like the tasting room that the guy is setting up things, and she's over there looking in, and she's just like,
yeah, it was really horrible faces. We're like, what's happening? Why is she doing this?
Yeah.
And then she like tiptoes away, and he sees her, of course. So she hides behind a skinny Christmas tree, and he's like, I'm literally looking at you. Like, what is this?
Yeah, she's standing behind a Christmas tree, and you can just see the shoulder pads of the top she's wearing butting out.
Yeah.
And you can see her ears and the top of her hair coming up over the tree. And it's like, you're not doing a very good job of hiding.
It was awkward all around. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
And so he like invites her in, gives her some wine, you know, tells her how to smell it and taste it. And for a tasting room, like he was trying to get her lit because, you know, when you like taste wine, you know, they're like little sips, right? He poured like this much of a glass.
He gave her like half a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And like, here you go, sniff it.
Yeah, and then they moved on to the next, and they were getting kind of into it.
Yeah, they were having a proper date, and then was that when he asked her out or no?
I don't know, because then she had to go to her ball lessons because I guess she has to do a dance at the ball, and her like gay BFF. Oh wait, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Can I just say for a second?
What?
At the beginning of this movie, I did not like it because it kept trying to be like, okay, so Tia is like older than you, right? So she's like mid-40s. They were trying to be very like youthful. They're like, oh, this slaps, and oh, I don't want no scrubs, and like weird shit like that. And I was like, come on,
I don't want no scrubs.
Okay, well that was from the 90s. That was from the 90s. But the whole like this slaps. And,
yeah, they had some.
I'm gassing this up, and like I was like, come on. That annoyed me.
But yeah, so they go to the dancing. And the dancing lesson is at the same place where the mom is teaching or planning the ball, and she's there with the dude. And so the dance, like her gay friend fakes an injury and says, I'm sorry for this, because the other girl at the ball or at the salon put him up to faking an injury so that the wine guy comes in and helps her dance and becomes her new dance partner. So
another reason the mom didn't like him, he is the heir to his father's California vineyard whatever business fortune, and he decided to do an offshoot, not a winery but a wine tasting of their stuff in Atlanta. And the mom was upset because he was just using this other than changing to, instead of having like soul food, he wanted like French food and
Yeah,
yada
he
yada.
was trying to make it focused around his wine. So like
Right.
he
Like,
wanted his wine presented in a specific way. He wanted to redo the menu so that it complemented his wines
right.
very well.
It was
And
basically like just an advertisement. And
yep,
she was like, no, man, that's not what this is about. So yeah, so anyways, so Tia dances with the dude, and of course they like each other.
yeah, they share a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right before that, when he was planning things with the mom, she was telling him about how Tia is so altruistic and does all this stuff, and she's so generous, and so he's getting hyped up on that end, and then dances with her and gets hyped
Mm-hmm.
up, and then I think he asks her out. They kind of go through a montage of like a bunch of, well, they go on a first date
Oh yeah.
to a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
but
And they just kind of walk around the city a little bit, and by
they do a
Christmas
little bit of
lights.
walking around the city.
And there's like a montage, and this annoyed me too. So they have like that montage where it was like, okay, they're eating in a restaurant, and then it showed them practicing for dancing, eating in a restaurant, practicing for dance. So it's trying to seem like a lot
Yeah,
of days
like
have gone by. Like they keep flipping the calendar saying how many days till Tinseltown. But in all of the pictures, like the dancing, they're wearing the same outfit. She's got her same hairstyle because she's a hairstylist, so she does a different hairstyle every single day.
yep.
And in the restaurant, they're wearing the same outfits, and she's got the same hairstyle. And so they keep trying to make it like days are going by, and it's the same freaking scene. Like put a little money into outfit change.
Yeah, so they did that. Um, it was kind of funny. It was one of those things that we were like, oh, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
The girl that put the gay guy up to dipping out, she has a military husband or boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
Military boyfriend. He's in deployment, and he's trying to get approval to come home for the holidays. And he told her that he'd be home, and then after the montage and all that, they come into work the next day, and she's sad, crying at her chair, and they talk about it, and it's because he has a special mission that came up all of a sudden, and now they're not going to be able to be back in time for Christmas, so
No.
they're going to miss she's going to miss being able to go to the ball with him there, and he's
Yeah,
not
it
going to get
was
to see
it was
her.
obnoxious. She's like almost like hysterical. And they're like, what happened? What happened? She's like, he had an emergency. And we're like, oh God, like he died or something. And she's like, he's fine, but he can't come to the ball now. And we're like,
Yeah.
seriously?
It's like, all right. And then she's like, well, I don't know if I can keep this up. I need to see him. I can't, because he's going to be in deployment for another year. And then we don't know where he's going to be for his next assignment.
I don't
And
know. It was bullshit.
it was like, okay, clearly you've got some problems going on. And then the third lady, her husband passed away at some point this year.
Mm-hmm. But
So this
some
is her first Christmas without him.
but some vegan soul food man down the street keeps hitting on her and stuff, so he wants to take her to the ball.
Yep, and she's like, nope, not happening. And so they do this kind of side story where they talk about her cooking because she makes really ridiculously good pies, and everybody's sad, like wondering why they haven't gotten their Christmas pies for the season, and she says, well,
That was her and her
it was her and
husband's
her
thing.
husband's thing, yeah. And so she doesn't do it anymore because she doesn't feel okay with that.
So that was that. And then Tia decides, no, somehow they did make a pie.
Oh
Somehow
yeah,
they
they had
decided
a
to make a pie together.
yeah. The girls all came together and said, "Well, we'll help you. Like we'll come over, we'll do this together, and we'll make a pie and show you that you know, it's okay. And so they eventually do that. They're like a fun little side quest thing. They I think the end result is she says we've got to make a pie and get Lawrence, the main love interest, to taste this pie because once he tastes it,
Oh, that's right.
he'll never be able, like, his stomach will never leave you.
Yeah, I think they
And
literally said that.
yeah, so they make this pie and she goes to deliver it to him and
Which,
walks.
by the way, it didn't have any sort of lid or saran wrap or anything.
Yeah, it was just a pie
It was just a
on,
pie, like an open
like,
pie. And so she's all like, dip, dip, dip. And she comes in and he's on the phone and he's like, yeah, yeah, Sienna's not going to be an issue. Like, don't worry. I'm going to make my wine front and center and I don't care. I'll leave Atlanta in a minute if I have to. And so she makes her like constipation face again. And she did. And he was like, what? And she's like, what was that? And he's like, no, you're misunderstanding. And
he's
she's
like,
like, well,
let me explain. And she's like, okay, I'm waiting for an explanation.
and he literally doesn't. He's like, oh, you're mad at me? And he doesn't explain anything. And so she's like, I came to tell you something, but I'm not now. And so she storms off and she's all upset because whatever, he's about to leave Atlanta in an instant. And she was falling for him. And the mom all of a sudden likes him. I don't know how that happened. The mom likes him now. And so then
Well, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh.
She goes home with the pie, and this was my favorite because it was just weird. She's eating the pie while calling the one girl with the military boyfriend, and the military girl is like, well, did he say that he doesn't want anything to do with you and that he doesn't care about you and all this? And she's being kind of a voice of reason, like, hey, you're putting things into the world that aren't there, while she's eating the pie just with a spoon, but not like eating the crust. She's just eating like scoopfuls of the filling of the pie, because it was like a sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
And it just looked like she was just eating spoonfuls of like a bowl of sweet potato pie.
You
because
said it looked like baby poop.
Well, yeah, but she kept just shoveling, and I'm like, where's the crust? She's just eating. It's just scoop of just baby poop, like baby food, baby poop, scoop, and she's talking, and you can see it all in her teeth.
I know, it's like dribbling out. But,
okay, and like, yeah.
Okay, so picture that, right? She's wearing like silk pajamas, full face of makeup. So she's shoveling the baby poop in her mouth with glossy lips, like, just, all decked to the nines. And I'm like, okay.
So yeah, they have this whole thing where that's the conflict. They get through that. The mom comes over and starts having like conversations with her. Lawrence, the guy, calls her and she ignores his calls. They're all getting ready for the ball now, and she's like over there pouting, drying her hair, and all the other, like, the two other girls are doing the mom's hair and talking about everything. And she goes over and has a pep talk with her and says, like, he actually cares about you, and he's trying to reach out. He isn't, like, you need to get past whatever your problems were.
He called her once.
Yeah.
And that was the big grand gesture.
Yep. So they go to the ball, and they show up in their very
sequin
Christmassy dresses. The one girl comes in a red sequiny dress. The one girl shows up in a green dress with like silver or gold sequins, or like, and then Tia shows up in this like princess dress that was not well fitting for her.
It had potential as the dress. I blame the costume people because it really did not fit her well. Like it, and
Go ahead. I'll let you describe this because I don't want to be the one like dumping on the things that we saw there.
like, of course, if you saw a person like this in real life, like, you wouldn't say anything. But because it's on a movie and you expect that they would, like, do something, it gave Tia this weird pooch. And it, like, the top part was way too tight and it was, like, literally digging into her. It didn't fit right. It didn't fit right. But
Yeah.
from far away, it looks good.
And there were some times when she was dancing where like it was like a strapless thing, but that they had like straps on her arms for like they were like decorative straps or something. And in the dancing scene where they go over the dance that they've been choreographing and practicing, like whenever they'd twirl her, you could kind of see that the way those straps would like give the appearance that she's like they'd like pinch into her back and make it look like she had like little pouches of like back fat that
It was
were just like
unfortunate.
dangling out, and it looked weird. It was like a very princessy dress.
But just it didn't fit right. And it was weird
Yeah.
because, like, Tia's obviously gorgeous. And the two other, like, friends were larger and their dresses were very flattering for them. So it was weird that they had the star of the show being kind of, you said, frumpy.
Yeah, not great.
But anyways, so she's going to do the dance and she's
before the dance, she goes to try and cheer up the military girl because her guy isn't there and she's moping around. So she goes over and says, "Go stand over there and take a picture."
And the dude shows up behind her. And so they're happy about that. But can we rewind for a second?
Yeah.
So there was this weird random scene at the beginning of the movie where they got like a special delivery from like Nam or wherever this dude's
No, it was
at.
the Kyle. It was the...
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, they said Kyle.
No, they said it was Noah.
No, they said it was Kyle.
I think they said it was Noah.
This was like they said Kyle, and they showed three. Yeah, they got
because they said you have such a
ornaments.
good man. I think it was the. Well, at any rate, there was like some random scene where like they got like a foreign shipment, and it was like three.
Foreign.
Yeah, it was like three like snow globes with like pictures of like the army guy with each of the ladies of the salon, and I thought that was very odd. And I was like, how did that even get there? Because it was like wrapped in like pink, and he was like, oh, probably like Amazon or something. I was like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Pre-order it
Because each of their boxes was like engraved with their names, and I was like, if he's like in an emergency, yes, it was.
No,
if
they
he's
were
like
like
in an
just
emergency field or
colorful
something.
written.
But also, we kept mixing up the best friend and the army guy's name, so we don't really know. We thought the one guy's name was Adam. There's no Adam in the movie. But anyway, so she was gonna dance with the best friend instead of the guy because she was pissed off. But then automatically, when it's time for and she had a really cute it was like a necklace.
Tiara.
It wasn't even a
thing,
tiara. It was like a literal necklace like on her head.
Yeah.
It looked cool. He didn't like it. But so she goes up to dance and the friend like dips out, and then the dude comes up and she automatically forgives him. He's like, I called you, and she's like, oh, I know, one effing time. But
well,
anyways,
they did that before. They had a conversation before because he started the party off by he started the party off by giving a speech where he doesn't introduce himself.
So he's this brand new guy to
And,
Atlanta.
yeah.
He's trying to promote his wine, and he's not like, hi, I'm Lawrence, the founder of blah blah blah. So he's like, hello, good night, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and he basically makes a speech that is directly targeted at Tia's character, and then they talk for a minute, and then they get the dance. So he steps in there, and that's when they start dancing.
Yeah, and then she like loves him again, and that was it.
Well, they give him the award,
The one
and
the one girl, the lady whose husband died, it does show her talking to the vegan soul food man at one
yeah,
point.
he hit on her at the party and like
Mm-hmm.
tried to be with her, and she was like no. But yeah, it kind of ends up neatly wrapped where they're all
They're all with their new
their
people.
men, and she's committing to creating this line of
Oh
um
yeah.
this
Hair stuff
hair
all of a sudden.
products that kind of sounded like the whole Bombas pitch where, for every one you buy, we donate to a homeless shelter kind of thing. So yeah, that was basically the end, and they're all like the three salon ladies are with their dudes, and the mom's there with some old
I
dude
don't think
as
she had a guy,
well.
but it's okay because the best
But
friend was
yeah,
there. I don't know. It was fine.
it was all right. It was interesting to see the three kind of not necessarily main plots, but to have multiple kind of main storylines going on where they're dealing with all sorts of stuff and not just, oh, we're just focusing on main character and her problems and everybody else doesn't have problems this time of the year. So that was refreshing. But
I
yeah,
guess
it was,
so.
other than that,
There was no big like
okay.
plot hole. Like I mean, other than the one phone call,
Yeah,
not plot hole, but like
like
conflict. It was just kind of like,
the only conflict was really the well, each character had their conflicts that they had to deal with. The main character with they kind of cheaped out on the main character's plot hole because it was like they had that fight and then like 10 minutes later they're back together.
yeah. There was it
But
was
then
very
the whole
odd.
military thing, which was like the most obvious
But of course, he
one,
made it home. Of course.
and then the other lady dealing with the passing of her husband and trying to get baking again. But it was okay,
It was okay.
not really super
I
interesting.
liked Tia on it.
Yeah.
She's cute. I like her.
What would you rate it?
You first.
You first. I always do
All
first.
right. 5.5. 5.5.
Okay, okay. I was gonna give it a 5. It was okay. It wasn't enraging. It wasn't like your typical paint by numbers
Yeah.
story for Christmas with a couple of subplots that actually kind of are prominently featured.
Yeah.
So it was okay, but yeah,
It was okay. It was just
yeah, it was all right. Give it a shot if you wanna, but otherwise, we'll catch you next time.